Thanks, Commissioner, for listening to us and for everything we've got. I'm Commissioner Summers from BoxElder County, and I'll apologize up front. I've only been a politician for a year and somewhat, and these guys are still trying to teach me what I'm supposed to say and not to say, so I don't have a filter, and they'll attest to that, but yeah, so I'll sit down. We have a unique situation in BoxElder County where we take almost 2% of PILT money throughout the federal government. Between us and Tooele, we're almost 4% of the total PILT payment. We don't have any oil or gas. We don't have any of those kind of things really with forests and stuff like that. But we do have wild horses. We still have the problem with sage grouse. We're still having to go out on the hog up mountains and other areas and still search and rescue for the people like, John Jones was talking about, and that take a wrong turn and they end up in the middle of nowhere because, of course, if you come out in the Midwest, in Utah, you think everything goes from Salt Lake up to this area, and they have no idea what the rest of the area looks like. We have our problems with BLM. We have a meeting with them next week to talk about how they think they're going to come into our county and tell us what to do over the Sheriff's Department. The wild horse problem is a serious problem out in our area too. About what it was last August, so about a year from now, they actually had a BLM adoption in our fairgrounds for 2 weeks. They spent about $15,000 in BoxElder County, which is great, but they adopted 2 horses at $100 a piece. And I'm sure Dave can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's 6 other sites that collect wild horses. And now there's a study out that says by the time they put them in one of these feedlots, it's $44,000 per head from the time they put them in that feedlot until the time they die. And then Congress will tell you, or some people in Congress will tell you that it's okay to slaughter them. Well, they do have one on the books that said it's okay to slaughter, but they haven't put money towards inspectors. So we cannot slaughter horses in the United States because we have no inspectors. We have people ready in Mexico right now that would take every horse we would give them, so it would actually save us $44,000 per horse if we could get them to Mexico. I call it selective adoption. So we can take the horses to the border, they can adopt them and use them for what they want. I think we should take the money that we're saving and go towards veterans and our school kids instead of having these horses sit out there in the middle of nowhere and starve to death. We also have an opportunity in western BoxElder County. We have a potash plant that wants to come into our area. It might not sound like a lot, but like I said, we don't have oil or gas or anything like that. They've been denied permit by the BLM 4 different times. From my last contact with them, they said that they're about bankrupt. They tell us that it would be about $900 million in the next 30 years worth of revenue for the state and federal government and the counties that we would be able to, about $900 million in the next 30 years from the potash company. And what I'm about to tell you, you'll sit back and think, well, that's stupid. And for somebody that's just a regular guy, the reason that they told them that they couldn't do it is because it's in the view shed of the Donner Trail. Okay, a view shed is a new word to me, which means that you can see this potash plant that's 4.5 miles away from this spot in the middle of the West Desert. And the only time you get out to that spot is if you're lost or if you're lost. So it worries me that we've got to the point where the federal government's coming in and telling us what we can and can't do on our lands to make money so we can support our kids, so we don't have to export our kids, whether it be forest grazing and anything else to do with economics. Everything's drove economically, but it's like John Jones says, we have these people coming up from back east that have no idea, and they're making their livings off of suing us for things that we're supposed to be doing. So I actually asked one of the BLM managers if they'd take some of the people out of counting grouse leks in western BoxElder County and they could go put on this road out by where the potash mine is and count how many people it would actually bother if we had them out there. So I think it's time for us to, like you say, take our lands back, that we can control them the way we need to do them in our counties and in our state, so we can actually make a living and we can keep our kids, because we're not just a destination place. I don't know about you guys, but I live in Utah. I don't fly out here. I don't just come to ski. I'm a 5th generation. My pioneer family came this way because they wanted to live here. And I don't really like people back east telling us what we think we should do in our own counties. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
So this trail that you're talking about, the view shed that you're in the Donner Party trail, is that, can you document?
Oh, yeah.
the trail? So it is marked and it's
No,
there?
well, they tell us that they haven't had their trails meeting to actually implement what trails they want and where they want them. And it's actually 10 miles on each side that they want this pristine portion of this trail through the Donner Trail. So 10 miles on
Who is
either
that?
side, the BLM.
So when you go out there and look at the ground, can you see a track or a mark or
Sagebrush, maybe, you can kind of get your way through it. I mean, yeah, you know, there's stuff out there. But I just said, I
can
mean,
you look at it and say, oh yeah, that's the trail, I see, I recognize it. Can you recognize it as a trail?
I can't. But I mean, I think somebody could if they went out there and put their GPS and said, you know, this is the trail.
Yeah,
And
so that's the point I'm trying to get to. It's not like this is marked, like the Mormon Trail.
well, you know, they have Oregon Trail stickers all the way up and down. I mean, we've got one in our backyard basically that's a trail sticker. You know, but I think it's crazy to think that you can have 10 miles each side of whatever this trail is to be able to say it's pristine. You know, like, and 4.5 miles, you can look across this valley, you can see that edge, but on a flat area where we're talking about, 4.5 miles or 5.5 miles, all you're seeing is just the waves of heat. I mean, we told the BLM and the guy that was gonna put it in, he says, look, we'll do whatever we need to. We'll put in a berm so you can't even see us. We'll rename our cafeteria the Donner Trail Cafeteria.
So what are they gonna do with a home like yours is obviously within?
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's plenty of places around here. If you know where the trails are at, you can walk down in trails, but they just want it pristine for who knows what reason.
That's the 30,000 foot view.
Right, exactly. When they fly over it, and like I said, if you've ever been to western BoxElder County, you're either lost or you're lost. So,
Thanks.
thanks.